Showtime, showtime, showtime. What you're going to be looking at is right down in there. You see where that file is laid up right there on that 2x4, and that flywheel's right here. That little gap right down in between that end of that file and that flywheel, that's the part you're going to be looking at. And you can see over yonder, I done already pulled that dial indicator back out of the way there, because this little gap right here is going to be 3/16 of an inch bent. I'll rotate that flywheel and you'll see what I'm talking about. Y'all see what a bent flywheel looks like? See that gap right in there where that flywheel comes over and touches that file yonder and then opens back up? Right down in yonder I'm talking about, right in there. That's that gap right there. You see it goes, well, nothing. Right there it's a touching. And then you come all the way right there. Right there is 3/16 of an inch. That's how much that flywheel's bent. Now this one right here was on this 1926 McCormick-Deering Type M that we are doing this series on. This is the flywheel that was on the mag side. And remember, we didn't have the opportunity to turn this flywheel on that engine because the crankshaft was so bad. But just looking at it, if you look at the face of it here, there is some very deep divots and some side gaps here where it's been hit severely at different times. You can see several of them. The flywheel is quite beat up on the corners right there, so it has been shoved around. So that flywheel right there, you know, you got mechanics out there say, we'll straighten that, we'll set that right. But you know, here on the East Coast, Arkansas, in my shop, I don't straighten flywheels. Write that on the wall over there somewhere or another. Just don't think they're safe. So, with that said, this flywheel right here is going to be, it'll be up there in the walkway. You know, put a little concrete in it there. Oh, you can see it yonder going askew side to side. Quite bad. Oh, I've seen them up to a ½ inch bent and not have a break in the spoke right there. So, now let's dig out us another one out of the pile out there. See what we got to work with. Scrap metal. One of the comments was this engine, was it worth repairing? Was it worth rebuilding, or was it a parts engine? And yes, this was a parts engine. This, when you look at this engine, this is a very, very good example of a parts engine, meaning that it wasn't in very good shape. A lot of scrap metal. And this is the flywheel on the governor's side. And if you see that run out down yonder, right in there between the end of that file, and when it's that much run out, there's just no reason to get the dial indicator on it. That's 1/16 of an inch is how much that is. It's too much to use. And what killed this flywheel right here, what made it unquestionable is to the fact that I'm not going to use it. It'll probably end up as show and tell, and I don't think you're going to be able to see it, but I'll try to point it out. this is the one that had the keyway, the gib key. The gib key was drove into this flywheel inside, if you remember, excessive enough to brad up the end of the gib key. And they drove it in. When I was cleaning this up, I happened to see this. It would have been very easy to have not found this particular defect. But just kind of seeing it here in the light where I can see it, it stops about right here. Let's see. The end of that, the end of the crack is about right there. Okay, and going the other way, the crack stops about right here, right in that area right there. Okay, there's a crack in that flywheel, and it's just the way the light is. Let's see if we can get a shadow on it. But the crack runs right across through here. That's where it's at. There's a crack. It was a bulge. It cracked it, and if we can see that with a shadow, and it's it's about 1.5 inches, 1 3/4 long right there. Just a crack in the middle of that, and that's the edge. The edge of that gib key would have been right there, and that's this edge right along here, the thin place on the inside of that like right here, where that keyway is in there. Then it cracked right alongside of it. But even that, just that crack right there, actually, when you drive in a new gib key from the outside out there, when you drive it in from this side over here, then it would just expand that out again. And one of the reasons that could have cracked only on one side is the gib key, when it was, maybe someone filed it and they got one side higher than the other side, and this being the high side, and it cracked it. But it was just drove in there to excessive depth is what caused that. But the crack here, along with the 1/16 of an inch run out in the flywheel itself, renders this flywheel scrap metal. Now let's find us 2 more that we can use. And to answer the question about this being a parts engine or a rebuilder, definitely the amount of parts that it's taken to put this engine together is, they're available. You can find parts for this engine, but if this was the engine if this was the only engine you had of this brand and you were trying to secure parts to fix it, you would end up with quite an expensive engine. The flywheels that I'm going to use on this 1926 Type M is this one right here, and as you can see, it has some original paint left on. I'm going to polish this face up after we get the engine running, but it does have some. It has more. This engine has more. This flywheel, and the engine was. I think the flywheels this engine come off of had a broken. The bottom of the block was broken on this engine, so it was totally parts that I had laid aside, and it does have. It's got some original paint on it. It's the only 2 that I had that had a little almost as much as the other set had. So we're going to use this set of flywheels right here, and the checking the run out, and I've not cleaned them up any at all. I just brought them in here for initial test, and the best amount of run out I can get with the dial indicator on this one is 4 possibly 5/1000ths. Taking in consideration there a little bit of rust and all, I think it will clean up a little bit closer than that, but no more than 5/1000. And the governor side flywheel that matched up to the other replacement flywheel, and I did clean it up just a little bit there to make sure it had no cracks or breaks in it. And it does have, this one has more original paint left on it than the one that was bent. And this one was a match set with the one we're going to put on here. Both of these flywheels came off the same engine that had a bad block. So, and it checks out about, this one's actually a little truer. Maybe 3 or 4/1000ths is the best I can get on run out on this one right here. It's really straight. So we're going to put this one on this 1926. We'll clean it up just a little bit, and we get that crankshaft in there now.